This audio is brought to you by Muslim Central. Please consider donating to help cover our running costs and future projects by visiting www.muslimcentral.com/donate.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وأصلي وأسلم على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن اهتدى بهديه واقتدى بسنته إلى يوم الدين، وبعد. فقد قال جل وعلا في كتابه المجيد وفرقانه الحميد: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم، بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. فمن يرد الله أن يهديه يشرح صدره للإسلام، ومن يرد أن يضله يجعل صدره ضيقا حرجا كأنما يصعد في السماء، كذلك يجعل الله الرجس على الذين لا يؤمنون. وقال النبي صلى الله تعالى عليه وسلم: إن الله تعالى يرفع بهذا الكتاب أقواما ويضع به آخرين، أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. Honorable scholars, respected brothers, elders, mothers and sisters, when Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam seen a dream as a lad, what was his dream? He seen رَأَيْتُ أَحَدَ عَشَرَ كَوْكَبًا وَالشَّمْسَ وَالْقَمَرَ رَأَيْتُهُمْ لِي سَاجِدِينَ. He seen the 11 stars and the sun and the moon bowing and prostrating to him. He bounced the dream and the vision of his dad, who was a Nabi, and understood the far-reaching implications of this dream. The father comforted the son, gave him strength, gave him hope. Like one person explained it very beautiful. If you look at the life of Yusuf with his father, alayhi salam, was very brief and short, the early years. And then the separation took place. And then the reunion took place, according to one narration 40 years later, and one narration 80 years thereafter. But those key years in the life of Yusuf alayhi salam with his father were so pivotal, were so key, were so amazing, that the father had groomed him, energized him, empowered him, that when he went out in the vicious world, what all the challenges that he had to contend with, he was strong, he was resilient, and he could resist the challenges that were outside. And we have to ask ourselves, our children who are with us in that early years where they supposedly ought to bond with us, are we making the necessary grooming, molding, shaping, empowering of these kids so they can grow up and become those strong soldiers and ambassadors of Islam? So he's seen this dream, 11 stars, sun and moon. But the day the fruition of this dream took place was a very, very long time. The young girl Nasiha and her parents had a dream, had a passion and a vision. We assemble, we converge and we congregate. But those of us that probably haven't walked through the road of memorizing the Quran might not be familiar with the different challenges it entails before a day like this comes. Before a day like this comes. You know, when a person, a couple, a wife conceives a child after many years, the excitement of being a parent is one, and more so if it was after a prolonged period. Everything is exciting. The child makes a movement in the tummy, it's exciting. Oh, stop, the child is kicking. You know, it's like, okay, wait. Just watch. The tummy is moving. He drops his food. Everything is like at a halt. Every milestone, every development is amazing. The child takes his baby steps. He comes out in the world, and I always say this here, the maternal grandparents come, and then they look, oh, he's a replica of his Kala. That's his maternal aunt. Oh, he just looks like his Nani. You can see that. And the husband's like, okay, wait, am I the father or not? Like, just hang on, when your parents come, he'll have your parents' dials. That's the reality of life. You know, when the Nabi of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam passed away, and then Sayyidina Abu Bakr and Ali radiallahu anhuma were walking along, and they prayed Asr Salah, and as they exited from the masjid, Hassan and Hussein radiallahu anhuma were playing close by. And I marvel at this, here. At that time rested on the shoulders of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu the most colossal and mammoth task that anyone can ever comprehend. Wallahi laqad nazala bi abi ma law nazala bil jibal ar-rasiyat lahadaha. that our mother Aisha radiallahu anha said, my dad shouldered such a mammoth task, that if this task had to rest on the collective mountains of the world, the mountains would have caved in. But the shoulders of my dad were so broad, they were so broad and strong. And that was Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. No one was so close to Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam than Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. But the ulama have written this here, his proximity to the station of Nabuwwat was something that was unparalleled. So as close as he was, and then when there were some symptoms of recovery, he excused himself and he said, I'm going to Awali. One of his spouses was staying there. Due to attending to the illness of Nabi alayhi salam, he was unable to spend some time with his wife. He excused himself and off he went. He barely got there and the news filtered in that the Nabi of Allah is as on his way out. When he came back, the most pain felt by anyone in the galaxy of Sahaba was Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. Yet there was no individual more composed than Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. He came there with absolute maturity. And we salute each person in his own expression. We not for a moment, Sahaba were all amazing. And in psychology they will tell you, everybody expresses different. But Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu was this amazing man. He came up close, lifted the blessed sheet from the blessed face of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he said, "Tibta hayyan wa mayyita ya Rasulullah." Oh my Habib, for some you can say he was adorable as a child. You know, you look at the old man, oh, in his days he was handsome. In his young days he was good. He's gone aged, he's hunched, he's frail, he's senile. It's told on him. But the best you can say of anyone is he looked amazing while he was alive. My Nabi, you are handsome when you were alive and no different after you've closed your eyes. You are no different after you've closed your eyes. So Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu comes out, and close by is Hassan and Hussein radiallahu anhuma playing. And imagine in the midst of all this turmoil, in the midst of all this happening in the life, you have the elements who are of claiming prophethood. They are exploiting the moment. They thriving on the situation. The likes of Aswad Anasi in the final moments of Nabi alayhi salam. Saja, Habib, Musaylama, they just want to get onto the bandwagon and claim prophethood. And all this is on the head of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. And he's dealing with the situation hands on. But he doesn't deny that child a hug, embrace and a smile. Like, this is the beauty of our deen. He picks the little boy Hassan, gives him a hug, embraces him, looks at Ali radiallahu anhu, Shibhun bin Nabi, laysa shibhan bi Ali. Ali, this boy is a replica of his grandfather Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Surely it's an accolade to be a replica of your grandfather if it's Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. I'm not sure in any other situation. But yes, if your maternal grandfather is Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, that is the absolute honor. And Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu just had a smile. So anyway, I'm saying that when it's your first child, every development, every milestone is something that intrigues you, excites you, adds to your excitement and your jubilation. The parent and the child, the tutor and the student who have walked this road, and then Allah brings that day. Allah brings that day. هذا تأويل رؤياي من قبل قد جعلها ربي حقا. Now how does a believer react and how does a believer respond? When we reach our graduation, and we graduate as Muslims, non-Muslims graduate, we might be graduating like today in a very blessed, wholesome, momentous occasion of the completion of the Quran, but academically, and that is perfectly fine, and we need to also have whatever necessary skills. Our deen is very holistic. Sayyidina Salman radiyallahu anhu used to say, لَيْسَ خِيَارُكُمْ الَّذِينَ يَتْرُكُونَ الدُّنْيَا لِلْآخِرَةِ وَلَا الَّذِينَ يَتْرُكُونَ الْآخِرَةَ لِلدُّنْيَا وَلَكِنَّ الَّذِينَ يَأْخُذُونَ مِنْ هَذِهِ وَهَذِهِ. The best amongst you are not those who forsake this world in its entirety to procure an abode in Akhirah. Nor are you the best who forsake Akhirah in its entirety to secure this world. But the best amongst you are those whom Allah endows with the balance in life, who have the absolute balance in life. And that's the challenge of life. Islam never imposed upon us to isolate yourself and run away into into isolation and forsake social life. وَرَهْبَانِيَّةً ابْتَدَعُوهَا مَا كَتَبْنَاهَا عَلَيْهِمْ. And rahbaniyat, if you go into the linguistics of rahbaniyat, the semantics, it's from the word rahaba. Rahaba literally means to fear. يَدْعُونَنَا رَغَبًا وَرَهَبًا. That they would supplicate us out of inclination and fear. So the people in the previous nations, that I really want to obey Allah, I don't want to be embroiled in other challenges, I don't want to be caught up in other things. They said, let's just move away from the world. Let's just move away. And we go away in isolation and we hibernate in a monastery and we just worship Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addresses this in the Quran. وَرَهْبَانِيَّةً نِبْتَدَعُوهَا أي إبتدعوها. And monasticism, which they innovated, they initiated. مَا كَتَبْنَاهَا عَلَيْهِمْ. We never ordained it, simply because it's not in harmony with the human nature. فِطْرَةَ اللَّهِ الَّتِي فَطَرَ النَّاسَ عَلَيْهَا. Our deen is a very pragmatic religion. It's a religion of balance. It never denies you your natural needs. It governs it. You can eat. It will never tell you don't eat. It will never tell you don't get married. I was in Canada and I'm crossing through the borders and the guy said, what are you? I said, I'm a priest. He said, are you the priest that gets married? I said, not to 1, to 4. Okay, I'm with 1 for now, right? You know, we were in Sri Lanka and we were sitting, so the brother said, Sheikh, I have an MBA degree. I'm like, okay, spell that for me, married but available. I said, hey brother, go slow, brother, go slow. Islam doesn't make a restriction on you. Islam governs it. That's the beauty. When you're in i'tikaf, Islam didn't say don't eat, don't do this, or adopt celibacy. No. The Prophet ﷺ said getting married is part of my teachings, and that's the beauty. That's the pragmatic nature. That's the user-friendly nature of Islam. هُوَ اجْتَبَاكُمْ وَمَا جَعَلَ عَلَيْكُمْ فِي الدِّينِ مِنْ حَرَجٍ. Allah has selected you and He hasn't made faith a matter of complexity. Read under this in the Hashya of Jalalain, how the different flexibilities, ease and the concession. And He said, Allah loves that you embrace the concession He's given you. Allah loves it. That when Allah has provided an ease for you, adopt the ease, adopt the concession. So when Sayyidina Yusuf ultimately seen the fruition of this dream, and like the young girl, parent and teacher have now seen this dream become a reality, then what is the response of a believer? How do we graduate? هذا تأويل رؤياي من قبل قد جعلها ربي حقا قد جعلها ربي حقا. Oh, I was dreaming, I was anticipating, I was aspiring, I was wishing. Only my Allah made it a reality. Only my Allah made it a reality. There are many scholars here. I recall when we commenced, you start in a class of a sizable number, and as you progress, there are so many dropouts. And those that remain don't remain on their own accord, through the sheer mercy of Allah. وَلَئِن شِئْنَا وَلَئِن شِئْنَا لَنَذْهَبَنَّ بِالَّذِي أَوْحَيْنَا إِلَيْكَ ثم لا تجد لك به علينا وكيلا إلا رحمة من ربك إن فضله كان عليك كبيرا. If we so wish, we could seize the revelation that comes to you, O Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. But we chose not to, and we allowed wahi to continue. This is but the mercy of Allah. Hence on the demise of Nabi alayhi salam, when Abu Bakr and Umar revived and continued the legacy of Nabi alayhi salam, and they visit Ayman radiyallahu anha, and she was tearing and crying and wailing and sobbing. And they said, okay, Ayman, we are all in a common vessel, and we all share the loss of Nabi alayhi salam. She said, my pain is twofold. One is the demise of Nabi alayhi salam, and one is the termination of revelation. Revelation, at the demise of one Nabi, it continued. Imam Bukhari commences his compilation, Babu Qawlillahi Ta'ala, Inna awhayna ilayka kama awhayna ila Nuhi wa nabiyyin min ba'di. Because this is the greatest favor of Allah upon man, revelation. وَلَوْلَا فَضْلُ اللَّهِ عَلَيْكُمْ وَرَحْمَتُهُ لَاتَّبَعْتُمُ الشَّيْطَانَ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. Had it not been the mercy of Allah in the form of revelation and the prophets, ثُمَّ أَرْسَلْنَا رُسُلَنَا تَتْرَى مُتَتَابِعَاتٍ. We send prophets in succession. Anyway, I don't want to digress. I'm just sharing whatever comes in my mind. So Sayyidina Yusuf, now what's the point here? At the point of completion, a believer is like somebody says, MashaAllah, you completed it. Oh, but you know how long it took me? You know what I went through? No, 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 no. You drop off all your negatives. You attribute all gratitude to Allah. Ibrahim alayhi salam is crying to Allah for a son. After many years, Allah approves his request. Alhamdulillahi alladhi wahaba li ala al-kibari Ismaila wa Ishaq. Inna Rabbi lasami'ud du'a. Inna Rabbi lasami'ud du'a. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. Allah gave me my son. And by the way, Ismail literally means Allah's responded. It's derived, it comprises of two words, Il and Sama'. Il meaning Allah, like Israel means Abdullah, because Il means Allah and Isra means Abd. So the servant of Allah, Israel. And Ismail, Il means Allah, Sami'a means to hear. Allah has heard, Allah has responded, Allah has approved. Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam made dua. Allah said we gave him Ishaq and we gave him a bonus. وَوَهَبْنَا لَهُ إِسْحَاقَ وَيَعْقُوبَ نَافِلًا. We gave him bonus, man. You're trying to become a dad, we're going to make you a granddad. And really, my brother, you know, things materialize in our life. We often ask Allah, and at that time we think it's not going to happen. And Allah gives us way beyond that. But because we have this constant crave of more, we never pause for a moment and say, Allah, 10 years ago, in my wildest dream, I couldn't imagine that you're going to bless me with a child who's going to memorize the Quran. Or I never thought you're going to bless me with so much wealth, or you're going to endow me with this. وَمَا كُنْتَ تَرْجُو أَن يُلْقَى إِلَيْكَ الْكِتَابِ وَمَا كُنْتَ تَرْجُو. In the 20th juz, the concluding verses of Surah Qasas, just before Ankabut. وَمَا كُنْتَ تَرْجُو أَن يُلْقَى إِلَيْكَ الْكِتَابِ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً مِّن رَبِّكَ. Oh my Habib, you were not anticipating that wahi is going to come to you, but this is the sheer mercy of Allah. وَمَا كُنْتَ تَتْلُو مِنْ قَبْلِهِ مِنْ كِتَابٍ. Prior to the revelation of the Quran, you read no book. وَمَا كُنْتَ تَتْلُو مِنْ قَبْلِهِ مِنْ كِتَابٍ وَلَا تَخُطُّهُ بِيَمِينِكَ. Just look at the beauty. Jazakallah. Just look at the beauty of how the scholars deduce. Prior to the revelation of the Quran, you did not read any book, meaning that this is a proof and a testimony to your prophethood. وَلَا تَخُطُّهُ بِيَمِينِكَ. And nor did you scribe or write or record or capture anything with your right hand. In Madarik al-Tanzil, under this ayah, the ulama say there is a subtle hint that while both is fine to write with your right hand and your left, but the actual thing is the right hand. Because the Nabi of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, وَمَا كُنْتَ تَتْلُو مِنْ قَبْلِهِ مِنْ كِتَابٍ وَلَا تَخُطُّهُ بِيَمِينِكَ. بِيَمِينِكَ إِذَا الْأَرْتَابَ الْمُبْطِلُونَ. It's academic, but this is the beauty of the Quran. There's so many isharatun nas that you pick up. So we express our gratitude to the Almighty that Allah made it a reality. I remember the young girl and the father Hashim had phoned me a few times during the course of her memorizing the Quran. And I kept on giving my humble counsel to say, hang on, persevere. And I say this, and probably there's so many people outside there listening to us over the airwaves, that when we memorize in the Quran, sometimes we get excited and a sense of hastiness that grips us. And I say to people, the duration of the memorization of the Quran only features for the period while you memorizing. How long you started, when you started, how long it took you. Once you've completed and concluded, for the rest of your life, nobody wants to know how long it took you. They want to know how solid your Quran is. It's for that little duration. Oh, okay, you started last year. Okay, you started 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So let's not focus on that, because everybody has their different ways, measures, and span through which they can imbibe and comprehend or commit to their memory. The key thing is to preserve the Quran and beyond. The verse of the 8th juz, أَوَمَنْ كَانَ مَيْتًا فَأَحْيَيْنَاهُ. Someone is living a life of sin. The Quran says he is dead. He is dormant. He is inactive. There's no movement in his life. There's kufr. There's disbelief. There's transgression. فَأَحْيَيْنَاهُ. We revive that person through faith, piety, nobility and virtue. فَأَحْيَيْنَاهُ وَجَعَلْنَا لَهُ نُورًا. And then we endowed that person with a celestial light, with a divine light. Then what does Allah say? وَجَعَلْنَا لَهُ نُورًا يَمْشِي بِهِ فِي النَّاسِ. He or she imbibes that light and walks around with that light. Mufti Shafi Sahib Rahmatullah Alayhi writes so eloquently under this ayah that this is the beauty of deen. When you imbibe it, you internalize it, you implement it, then Islam needs to be promoted. Walk with your Quran, display your Quran, exhibit your Quran, manifest your Quran, display the character. وَجَعَلْنَا لَهُ نُورًا يَمْشِي بِهِ فِي النَّاسِ. That you can see that's the person of Quran. As Abdullah ibn Mas'ud said, يُعْرَفُ بِلَيْلِهِ إِذَا النَّاسُ نَائِمُونَ وَبِنَهَارِهِ إِذَا النَّاسُ مُفْطِرُونَ وَبِخُشُوعِهِ إِذَا النَّاسُ يَخْتَالُونَ وَبِصَمْتِهِ إِذَا النَّاسُ يَتَكَلَّمُونَ. You will identify the boy or girl who carries the Quran in his or her bosom. By the night when others are in sleep and slumber, he or she will be in nocturnal prayer. When others are indulging, they would be observing the fast. When others are chit-chatting and gossiping, the Quran would be with them. And that's such a beautiful companion. Today it's so easy, we have it on our devices. We could be moist in the remembrance and the recitation of the Quran continuously. There is this incident of Urwa bin Zubair. I always mention it. Kana yaqra. He used to recite a third of the Quran in the day, and the same third of the Quran he used to read it at night. And this was a practice he adopted from the early years of his youth, and uninterrupted this practice remained till the day of his death at the age of 70. So that is it. يَمْشِي بِهِ فِي النَّاسِ. To walk around with the Quran. كَمَنْ مَثَلُهُ فِي الظُّلُمَاتِ لَيْسَ بِخَارِجٍ مِّنْهَا. Can this person who has the Quran and has this light, and they walk around with this light, be equal to someone who's engulfed in layers of darkness? لَيْسَ بِخَارِجٍ مِّنْهَا. It's a vicious circle. Speak to a man in darkness, speak to a man in sin, speak to a man in vice. The biggest deception and delusion of a victim of any crime is, I'm in control of the situation. We just do it as a friendly. It hasn't gripped me. I'm on top of this here. If I want to leave drugs, I can leave it now. If I want to drop this illicit relation, it's a matter of just deleting it. But you know what? I'm just giving it time. I don't want to drop it like a hot potato. Why you don't want to drop it like a hot potato, my brother? This is the biggest deception, that I can break away, detach, wean instantly. And the grip, the vice is just getting tighter, and it's getting an absolute hold around us. كمثل الشيطان إذ قال للإنسان كفر فلما كفر قال إني بريء. How does Allah say? What does the devil do? Listen, do it. I'm behind you. Gives you that adrenaline, gives you that excitement, gives you that kick, gives you that thrill. Go for it, man. Go. I dare you. Go for it. وَكَذَلِكَ سَوَّلَتْ لِي نَفْسِي. Samiri, why did you initiate the worship of the calf in the absence of Musa alayhi salam? I felt like. For the kick. Feels cool. وَكَذَلِكَ زَيَّنَتْ لِي نَفْسِي. Just, curiosity, trying something. That ego is just pricking within us. Why? Because there's no governing of it. By Allah, in the restriction of Islam, there's real freedom. And in the apparent freedom of the world, there's total destruction. In this limitations that Allah has given us, إن الله فرض فرائض فلا تضيعوها وحد حدودا فلا تعتدوها وسكت عن أشياء رحمة لكم من غير نسيان فلا تبحثوا عنها. Allah has put parameters, Allah has put boundaries, Allah has put laws. Don't step over, don't transcend, don't come close to it. Allah has put these limitations, it is in our interest. تِلْكَ حُدُودُ اللَّهِ فَلَا تَقْرَبُوهَا. These are the boundaries of Allah, don't go beyond it. So in the limitations that Allah has given us, there is great freedom, there is great wholesome nature of life, and there is good meaning to life. There's two things I want to focus on. One is, as we know, the young girl, mashallah, that has completed the Quran, her name is Nasiha. And we also know that we learn in the hadith of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam that when he sallallahu alaihi wasallam was asked, what is deen? What is Islam? Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, ad-deenu an-nasiha. Ad-deenu an-nasiha. Often we don't even know why we name our child. What's the motivation behind that name? And the child doesn't even know what the meaning of that name is. And that is sad. It's imperative. It is imperative. It's incumbent. It's important that we are motivated in selecting a name behind the rich legacy of the individual, the Sahaba radiyallahu anhum. There's a good friend of mine in the UK. He named his son Muaz, and the boy became a scholar. And then he tasked his son to gather all the narrations of Sayyidina Muaz radiyallahu anhu. Put it in a booklet, translate it. It's an incentive. Understand, my son. I went to Jordan and we went on the hilltop where father and son Muaz radiyallahu anhu and his dad are resting in one place out in the path of Allah for the promotion of the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when you stand at these graves, it just gives you that amazing feeling and that noor that has been transmitted. It was Sayyidina Muaz that Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said to him, Asa Allah talqani ba'da ami hadha. Muaz, you go in and I want you to go yassira wala tu'assira, bashira wala tunaffira. Go there, make things easy, give people hope, give people encouragement. Don't take them away from deen. Cajole them, motivate them, inspire them. Bima taqdi ya Muaz. Muaz, how will you navigate? Bi kitabillah, through the Quran. فَإِن لَمْ تَجِدْ. And if you don't find the answer there, bi sunnatir Rasul, then through the teachings of Nabi alayhi salam. The scholars tell us, Nabi alayhi salam didn't say فَإِن لَمْ يُوجَدْ. Nabi sallallahu said فَإِن لَمْ تَجِدْ. Nabi sallallahu didn't say if it's not found. Nabi sallallahu said if you don't find it. When Sayyidina Musa alayhi salatu wasalam asked Allah, Rabbi arini anzur ilayk. Allah, I've been chatting with you, I've been speaking to you. Can I see you? Allah said, Lan tarani. And Allah didn't say Lan ura. Allah said, Musa, you don't have the ability to see me. Allah didn't say, I cannot be seen. And hence this is our belief that on the day of Qiyamah, the pinnacle of ecstasy for the occupants of paradise, may Allah make us among them, would be when they would be riveted with the countenance of Allah. In Surah Mutaffifin, there's an amazing deduction Mufti Shafi Sahab rahmatullah alayhi makes. Kalla innahum an rabbihim yawma idhin lamahjubun. On that day, the sinners, the transgressors, the atheists, the disbelievers, the infidels, they'll be barred from the countenance of their Lord. He writes under this ayah, my Allah. This is the beauty of our Quran. Last night I was speaking and I was harping on the same thing. Connect yourself with the Quran. Appreciate the rich legacy that Allah has given us. Appreciate the message of the Quran. So just let me unpack this and simplify it for you to appreciate the profound meaning that is captured and encapsulated in this ayah, like any other ayah of the Quran. Allah says that they would be barred, they would be blocked. And Allah mentions this in the context of a penalty upon them. That on the day of Qiyamah, they weren't able to see Allah. ثَلَاثَةٌ لَا يُكَلِّمُهُمُ اللَّهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ وَلَا يَنْظُرُ إِلَيْهِمْ وَلَا يُزَكِّيهِمْ وَلَهُمْ عَذَابٌ أَلِيمٌ. 3 people, Allah will not speak to them, meaning with love. Allah will not see them, meaning with kindness. So these people will not see Allah. And Allah is speaking of the disbelievers. He writes in his tafsir that this ayah compels us to believe that even if a man claims to be, and you can read it in Mariful Quran, so you can have a more, detailed understanding of it academically. This ayah compels us to believe that if a person in this world claims he's an atheist, he's an agnostic, there is no God, there is no divine being, in the heart of hearts he also believes in an Allah. Why? Because if he did not believe in a divine being, it doesn't gel with logic to deny him the sight of Allah for that to constitute a punishment. How can it constitute a punishment if you don't believe? It can only be a penalty upon you if you believe in Allah, you're passionate to see Allah, you want to see Allah, and you've been denied seeing Allah, then only was this a penalty upon you. Allahu Akbar. That means, because Allah has put that seed in every person. فِطْرَةَ اللَّهِ الَّتِي فَطَرَ النَّاسَ عَلَيْهَا. Every person who comes in this world, there is that spark of Iman in his or her heart. And when you just ignite that spark or you water it, it nurtures, it mushrooms, it grows, it blossoms. So anyway, the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam was asked, what is deen? What is Islam? In 2 words. And often if we read the writings of our Salafus Salihin, you would find how comprehensive they would answer. One great scholar was asked, what is Islam? And in 2 words he said, it is simplicity and modesty. And I mean, just analyze the depth of that statement. That Islam does not disapprove you to have a function. You must get married, but it must be modest and simple. And Islam doesn't say you don't have a home, but it must be basic and it must be modest. And Islam doesn't say you shouldn't have a conveyance. And throughout our life, these are the two factors that govern our makeup, govern our lives, govern our interactions, etc. So the Messenger ﷺ was asked, what is deen? And he said, an-nasiha. Deen is nasiha. What is nasiha? Nasiha means desiring good. What is nasiha? Desiring good. I often say that the essence of our faith is to desire good for others. We have stooped so low that we no longer have the muscle to desire good for others. We don't possess the ability to even see the good of others. It's like I cannot pave it, facilitate it, suggest it, coordinate it, arrange it. But if good falls on his lap through avenues otherwise, it becomes a bitter pill for me to swallow, because I was the big boy in the family always. I was anchored. Everybody knew in the family I'm the big boy. Now how can a young man come on board, a new kid on the block, and suddenly he has rapidly climbed the economic ladder, climbed the corporate ladder, or there's some young talent that has come and he's outshined me. This has become too daunting for me to digest. And those who live with jealousy in their hearts, they incarcerate themselves and shackle themselves by their own inflicted miseries. They create these own miseries in their life, and the quicker we free ourselves from this, and the quicker we rise above this and our hearts are clean and clear. One of the qualities of a Nabi is recognizing the good of others. And one of the devilish traits is to only patronize yourself, pontify yourself, and to only flatter yourself and speak about your own self. So here we have the devil, when he was told to prostrate to Adam, قَالَ أَنَا خَيْرٌ مِّنْ خَلَقْتَنِي مِنْ نَارٍ وَخَلَقْتَهُ مِنْ طِينٍ. In Bayan al-Quran, Hakim al-Ummah writes on this ayah, the devil made in Sughra, Kubra, Natija, in Mantiq we talk about this language, but he made many analogies. I am superior to Adam, I've been created from fire, Adam has been created from sand, and superior cannot bow to inferior. Hakim al-Ummah writes, all his analogies were flawed. Only one statement was correct, خَلَقْتَنِي مِنْ نَارٍ. Allah, you created me from fire. And that also correct in the sense that fire was the dominant ingredient in the formation of jinn, just like clay is the dominant ingredient in the formation of man. Other than that, there's nothing like this here, that I'm superior and he's inferior and fire is greater. So what was the devilish trait? No, I'm better. I don't have the muscle to say somebody else is greater. I say this quotation often, that a proud person is one who feels violated when others are praised. He feels injured. He feels bruised. No, you cannot say that. You cannot say that. I had the privilege of sitting in the company of Maulana Abdullah Kapodra, Hafidhahullah Ta'ala, a great scholar, a great luminary, a man who spent 1 month in the company of none other than Maulana Hussain Ahmad Madni Rahimahullah. And many a times I had asked him to share those experiences. And one of the most amazing salient features of this great giant is, Allah has blessed him with amazing ability to recognize the talent of someone, compliment the talent, encourage the person and give motivation to others. So that's a devilish trait. And Sayyidina Musa and Harun, there's consensus of opinion that Musa alayhi salam was a greater Nabi in rank and status compared to his brother Harun. In fact, Sayyidina Musa had a hand, if one in inverted commas, right? Because I got to qualify that statement, because Allah decides nabuwat. Allahu yajtabi ilayhi man yasha, wallahu yakhtassu bi rahmatihi man yasha, Allahu a'lamu haythu yaj'alu risalata. This is the divine decree of Allah. But it was the request of Musa alayhi salam that Allah, can my brother Harun accompany me, and he was endowed with prophethood. So there's no two opinions. There's no two opinions that Musa alayhi salam was a greater prophet. But he was so open to say, وَأَخِي هَارُونُ هُوَ أَفْصَحُ مِنِّي لِسَانًا وأخي هارون هو أفصح مني لسانا. Allah, I'll go to Pharaoh, but my brother Harun, he is much more articulate than me. Allah, he's really got the gift of the gab. A man like Sayyidina Musa. In fact, I have a flash now in Sirat al-Mustafa, and I read this myself, and I urge you, my brother. The other day a brother came to me and said, I was listening to your talks, you're encouraging us to read. What must we read? I said, read Sirat al-Mustafa. Please, my brother. He comes back to me after a few days, but it's a long kitab. My brother, it's the biography of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and trust me, whatever has been written on the life of our Habib is condensed. It's summarized. It's brief. Because nothing can encapsulate the richness of his impeccable legacy. How do you capture it? The day our Habib sallallahu alayhi wa sallam passed away, how many strands of white hair there were on his blessed beard and his head have been captured. 19, 20, 21, 3 narrations, Ibn Majah. How many strands of white hair the day our Habib sallallahu alayhi wa sallam passed away? There was a frown on his blessed forehead, which would become manifest when he would become angry. There was a vein that would protrude when he would become angry and rage. Sahaba, they captured all these finer details. That was the life of our Habib sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So Sayyidina Musa alayhi salatu was salam, Akhir Harun huwa afsahu minni lisana. My brother Harun is much more articulate than me. He was open and bold. Anyway, I was mentioning this of Sirat al-Mustafa. It's mentioned this day, you can read it. Maulana Idris Kandalwi has authored many kitabs, and this is an amazing masterpiece, one of his most well-read books. One of his most well-read books is Sirat al-Mustafa. It's a detailed account, academic language, with all the references, etc. When our Habib Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam went for Mi'raj, right? We use two terms, Isra and Mi'raj. Asra Yusri, Isra means to travel by night. Mi'raj is an Ismi Allah, which means a ladder to ascend and climb. So one journey from here to Baytul Maqdis is known as Isra, and the one from Masjid al-Aqsa beyond to the heavens is known as Mi'raj. And sometimes Isra is used metaphorically, majazan, over the entire, and sometimes Mi'raj. The Ahl al-Lugha has explained that in great detail. When Sayyidina Habib Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was coming down and he received the gift of 50 prayers, and he passed by Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam, and Ibrahim alayhi salam said, oh Habib Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, what was it? He said 50 prayers. He said, okay, lovely, awesome, good. You know, all the best. And then he came to Sayyidina Musa, and Musa alayhi salam said, no, this is going to be a daunting task. This is going to be a daunting task. You need to go negotiate and bring it down. And he writes in Surah Al-Mustafa that even Sayyidina Ibrahim was cognizant of the colossal nature of 50 prayers on an ummah. But he didn't muster the courage to refer the Nabi of Allah back, but rather Sayyidina Musa took the courage. And why? Because Sayyidina Musa was Kalim, and Kalam ye maqam naz hai. Sayyidina Musa was Kalim, and Kalim is like we speak daily. We have this, وَكَلَّمَ اللَّهُ مُوسَى تَكْلِيمًا رُسُلًا قَدْ قَصَصْنَاهُمْ عَلَيْكَ مِنْ قَبْلُ. I urge the young girl, and I've said this in hundreds of my hifz jalsas, please my young girl, whatever your career is, but take time to try and understand the message of the Quran. I am a fallible mortal and I'm drowning in my sins. But I swear by Allah in whose control is my life, nothing gives me a greater spiritual ecstasy, and nothing takes my depression away than to just read the Quran and reflect over the meaning of the Quran. It is beyond description. It's just too much to express in words. And you know what's the beauty of it? Yesterday you read the verse, and in that Allah gave you an answer to your problem yesterday. And today you read that same verse on the next day, and Allah answers a fresh problem through that same verse. This is Quran. La yukhlaq an kathrat al-rad. The narration of Tirmidhi. Monotony never sets in with repetition. You can repeat it. Monotony is alien to the text of Quran. So really, my brother, make it a passion to understand and see what Allah is saying. Then we would appreciate the depth of the Quran, and we would see the profound effect on it. Obviously, it needs to be coupled with guidance. It needs to be monitored, etc. So Sayyidina Musa was Kalim. So he told Nabi alayhi salam, I speak to Allah, go to Allah. And obviously it was in the plan of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and back and forward, and this 50 prayers were then reduced to 5. and لا يبدل القول لدي وما أنا بظلام للعبيد, that offer 5 and walk away with the reward of 50. When Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam was in the jail, and one of the inmates were leaving, then he whispered to the inmate that, listen, when you're going to the king, just put a word in the king's ears and say there's an innocent man languishing in the jail. But as fate has it, and as is human nature, when things are good, then we forget everyone's numbers. And when we hit a crisis, and when our vessel is hitting an iceberg, then we know who to phone. Try this number, try that number, maybe here, maybe there. But when the vessel is sailing, then we forget everyone ideally. This is the tragedy of our life. This is the tragedy. كَلَّا إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَيَطْغَى كَلَّا إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَيَطْغَى أَرَّآهُ اسْتَغْنَى. Verily, man can become very arrogant when he perceives himself to be independent. Under this ayah, the Mufassirin write that Allah is independent yet kind. Man is dependent yet arrogant. Allah is independent. Allah could display pride and arrogance, but Allah displayed such kindness. كَتَبَ رَبُّكُمْ عَلَى نَفْسِهِ الرَّحْمَةِ كَتَبَ رَبُّكُمْ عَلَى نَفْسِهِ الرَّحْمَةِ. Allah has ordained softness and gentleness and kindness for himself, just out of his sheer mercy. And this is the system of Allah, that he has made us interdependent humans. Because if Allah had to make us independent, there would be no limits to the tyranny, the aggression, and the pride of man. There would be no limit to it. وَرَفَعْنَا بَعْضَهُمْ فَوْقَ بَعْضٍ دَرَجَاتٍ لِيَتَّخِذَ بَعْضُهُمْ بَعْضًا سُخْرِيًّا. And we've elevated some over others to promote a system of interdependency. One is dependent on skill, the other one is dependent on income, and it is this interdependency that keeps the wheel of life turning. I hate my boss, but I need the job, so I go on. This employee of mine also, you know what, never mind, but I'll just carry on. I often mention this in a bit of humor. So you meet this employee, hey, I believe you're working for so-and-so. We're working, brother, we're running the show, man. Because of me, he can go to China and take his family to Dubai and all that. For shukr, we do it for Allah, man. We earn peanuts, but anyway, it's for Allah we do it. I'm running the floor there, man. I operate the whole floor there. Nice. Allah reward you, brother. Then you meet the boss. Hey, so-and-so working for you? We're working, but we say you'd rather carry them, man. Now what you going to do? You know what? Give our Muslims a job, man. You know what? Oh, I said, no, man, this is also one sadaqah from our side and the family. Allah protect us. Nothing, man. Just we carrying him. Dead weight. Not on time, not productive, nothing. Read this ayah. I often mention this to my dad, and he says, boy, share it with me more and more. The concluding verses of the 18th juz, Surah Furqan. What does Allah say? وَجَعَلْنَا بَعْضَكُمْ لِبَعْضٍ فِتْنَةً. I hope, and I've said it in many talks. The other day I gave a talk, and a professional man, he came to me, he says, I just want to tell you, I sat in that talk, and the way you were driving the need of Quran, I couldn't leave the gathering but make a commitment with myself, and I've enrolled and I've started learning. I said, my brother, alhamdulillah, that is our deen. That is our deen. Get on and start learning. It's never too late. Just hop on and start doing. Amr ibn Jamuh, when his sons invited him to Islam, وَقَدْ جَاوَزَ عُمْرُهُ 60 سَنَةً. He had passed the 60 mark. He had passed. His 3 sons, Muawwaz and Muaz, and another son of his, and they were close to Muaz ibn Jabal. And they started getting very close up, and he's observing that my sons are changing in their approach. And then he tells his wife, listen, we need to watch our children. I don't know, are they affiliating with the Muslims? So the wife had also reverted. So the wife said, what if the faith he brought is good? So the son comes up, and he recites, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahmanir Rahim, مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. If we go into the translation, even on the commentary, it's going to run into hours. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. The ulama say is the ta'aruf of Allah and the ta'rif of Allah. It's the introduction of Allah and the praises of Allah. He says, Ma ahsana hadha al-kalam wa ma ajmala. Oh, this is amazing. Awa kullu kalamihi hakada. So is this Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's whole Quran like this? He said, yes, my dad, and it gets even more interesting and more intriguing. Allahu nazzala ahsana al-hadithi kitaban mutashabiha مثاني مثاني تقشعر منه جلود الذين يخشون ربهم ثم تلين جلودهم وقلوبهم إلى ذكر الله. Allah reveals the verses, the clear-cut verses. Mathani, the verses are repeated. وَلَقَدْ آتَيْنَاكَ سَبْعًا مِنَ الْمَثَانِ تَقْشَعِرُّ مِنْهُ جُلُودٌ. Those who fear Allah, their hair stands on end. ثُمَّ تَلِينَ, then it softens when they read the verses of Jannah. And then Amr ibn Jamuh reverts to Islam. He accepts the faith of Islam. And he's the very man who goes in Uhud and his martyrdom is accepted. So it is the call for us to connect ourselves to the Quran. Let me come back time. Ooh, we didn't finish the first part of the hadith. Okay. Ad-deenu an-nasiha. What is deen an-nasiha? Desiring good for everyone. For who, O Nabi of Allah? Lillahi wa li kitabihi wa li rasulihi wa li a'immatil muslimeen wa ammatihim. What is nasiha? What does it really mean? You know, this brother, he says, I got married to my wife, everything. Then we had issues in our marriage and I found that she didn't have sabr. I said, you know, I don't know why they gave you name Sabira. Because really, you don't reflect that sabr in any way whatsoever. Either change your name or your habits. So we got to live, and the Nabi of Allah, and I say this is the beauty of our deen, the Nabi of Allah used to deduce good omens. So in Islam there's no bad omens. La shu'ma fil Islam. You can read the narrations, it's in Mishkat and other books of hadith. La shu'ma, there's no, black cat and owl and diesel leaking and, all those ones. Suspicious nature. Huh? Like the one brother say he went to a scholar and then he had some issues. So he asked the scholar to check. So they said that no, this is not external. He said it's medical. It's not external, it's medical. So he said, I barnu ni male andar nu che. If you know the terminology, this is not one of those things here that got to do with, you see a lot of these things here, and whatever Allah is putting in my mind, I'm sharing. A lot of these things we have, they enter our minds and our brains. It is we heard, we think, and we play games with our mind. The jinnat, they had a lot of arrogance in them. The jinnat had a lot of arrogance. They used to think that they are superior. And then the Quran says, mankind due through their foolishness fueled their arrogance. Mankind through to the, you know what, he thought he was big and you made him even bigger. This is the verses of the Quran. So what would happen when they would come to a valley, they would come to a place and they halt, then it was the norm amongst people, أَعُوذُ بِعَزِيزِ هَذَا الْوَادِ مِنْ شَرِّ سُفَهَائِهِ. That you make a proclamation, I seek refuge from the head jinn of all the shenanigans of the jinnat in this place. So the Quran says that يَعُوذُونَ بِرِجَالٍ مِّنَ الْجِنِّ فَزَادُوهُمْ رَهَقًا. يَعُوذُونَ بِرِجَالٍ مِّنَ الْجِنِّ, that mankind started taking protection. يَعُوذُونَ بِرِجَالٍ مِّنَ الْجِنِّ, that Allah, we want protection, we want amnesty here. فَزَادُوهُمْ رَهَقًا أَيْ طُغْيَانًا وَكِبْرًا. So they said, okay, like, we are superior, even mankind are asking our protection. So this added to their arrogance. And sometimes we promote people beyond, then obviously this is what we do. And on the other hand, at times we need to clip people's wings. It is mentioned about Iyad radiyallahu anhu. Iyad, during the reign of Umar, he was one of the governors of Umar radiyallahu anhu. And somewhat, he had restricted access. And Umar radiyallahu anhu's protocol was, if you are sworn into office or you're given a post, then your door must be open, there must be no butler, you don't ride a Turkish horse, and you don't wear refined clothing, and you eat simple coarse food. But somewhat that he had compromised on one, two of these aspects, and it was then referred to Sayyidina Umar. Umar radiyallahu anhu demoted him from the post of government, and then gave him a flock of sheep and told him, go and graze outside Medina. And Irbad radiyallahu anhu used to say, by Allah, this was tantamount to death for me. That imagine a man in office sitting there and ruling, and then he's dropped down. But he said it brought that absolute and total reformation to me. So our deen is desiring good. Desiring good for who, O Nabi of Allah? Lillah. Desiring good for Allah. How do we desire good for Allah? We bring iman on Allah. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu aminu billah. Oh, you who believe, bring iman on Allah in the true sense of the word. You see, again I have a flash of an ayah. Every person on this earth is the servant of Allah. But Allah has made two different references. Some are His close servants and some are His disobedient servants. So when Allah speaks of His close servants, Allah uses a very passionate reference. وَعِبَادُ الرَّحْمَنِ وَعِبَادُ الرَّحْمَنِ Oh my servants, oh my servants. You know, father is like, oh, that's my boy, man. That's my boy. And that one, yeah, he's also my son, man. Dua karjo, bhai. There's a black sheep in every family. Allah give hidayat. I'm the biological father, I can't shy away from that. But there is a world of difference in that first expression and the second. Allah made reference to tyrants who Allah had put upon people. And Allah said, Ibadan lana uli. Allah didn't say ibadana. Allah said, Ibadan lana. It's academic language, but if you know what I'm talking, wow. Ibadan lana uli ba'sin shadidin fajasu khilal ad-diyar. We had imposed upon them some of our servants. Allah didn't say ibadana, some of our servants. If you break it up linguistically, semantics, you'll understand in greater detail. And where Allah spoke of His passionate, close, near, dear bondsmen, وَعِبَادُ الرَّحْمَنِ. These are Allah's people. These are Allah's servants. They are just there. So when the devil was rejected, he said, Allah, I'm going to go in this world and I'm going to cause havoc. I'm going to cause havoc. And Allah said, go do whatever you want to. Go do. Who stops you? وَاسْتَفْزِزْ مَنِ اسْتَطَعْتَ مِنْهُمْ بِصَوْتِكَ وَأَجْلِبْ عَلَيْهِمْ بِخَيْلِكَ وَرَجِلِكَ وَشَارِكْهُمْ فِي الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَوْلَادِ وَعِدْهُمْ. Go mislead, go indoctrinate. بِصَوْتِكَ, either ghina or waswasa. Go get them into music or indoctrinate their brains and put all the whispers in them. وَأَجْلِبْ عَلَيْهِمْ بِخَيْلِكَ وَرَجِلِكَ. And bring your cavalry and bring your horsemen and do whatever. وَعِدْهُمْ. And go and throw them with 1,000 promises. And then Allah said, إِنَّ جَهَنَّمَ جَزَاؤُكُمْ جَزَاءً مَوْفُورًا مَوْفُورًا أَيْ وَافِرًا. That hell is your abode and the abode of those that follow you. So at that time, the devil said, Allah, I'm going to attack them from all angles. Allah said, you can go and do whatever you want to, but let me forewarn you, there are some of my servants, you're not going to try your luck with them. And even if you go, you will fail dismally. You will regret your attempt. إِنَّ عِبَادِي لَيْسَ لَكَ عَلَيْهِمْ سُلْطَانٌ. May Allah make us amongst those ibad. May Allah make us amongst those ibad to whom their Lord is too much to appease the devil. To whom their Lord is everything to appease their friends and cronies and colleagues and buddies. To whom their Allah is too much to succumb to the norms of society. To whom their Allah is too much to succumb to the temptation of wealth and amenities. My Allah comes first. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَشَدُّ حُبًّا لِلَّهِ. Allah says those who bring iman, they love Allah. They love Allah. Ashaddu. Their love for Allah is intense. The ulama say that iman actually demands that when you bring faith, it permeates your existence. It covers your entire body. So when a person gets married, right, just to understand my analogy simple here, when he gets married, the parents are complaining he doesn't see us. And it's probably a justifiable concern, or sometimes not, because we need to understand the context of situations. But often there would be a complaint to say, since he's married, he doesn't visit often, he doesn't care for us. And then, mashallah, they get married and the union continues and life moves on and they're having this quality time. And then after that, Allah blesses them with a child. And then the husband is, oh, since you got a child, like, I'm number two. I'm number two. And I'm secondary in your relationship because the focus is your child. If your child is sleeping, you've lulled your child, then you give. So what's happening? Life is moving on and everybody coming is taking a chunk of that heart. Is taking a piece off. And that love is now dwindling and withering and it's getting less. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, this is not what I want. I want that whole heart of yours must be enveloped in my love. It must be enveloped. So now, are we then saying that we shun our wife? No, that's the beauty. Now I love my wife, not as a reflection of a new love, but as a demand of the very love that I have for Allah. Now what's the difference between this? You say, this is academic and theory. No, there's a big difference here. Because my love for my wife is as a dictate of the love of my Allah, that love with my Allah will also dictate the boundaries of the love with my wife. My wife, I love you to pieces. And we have the best of relation. But hang on, you've asked me to buy this is not permissible. You're asking me movies, this is not on. Oh, my husband, I love you to pieces, but my Allah is first. You're asking me to dress like this, like that celebrity, or to walk like this, or to display like this, or to behave like this. This is because of your evil habits and addiction and perusing unsavory material, and that's the kind of imposition you're going to make on me? No. Because now I'm not dealing with you direct, I'm dealing with my Allah direct. And these are the limits my Allah has put that I must be dealing with you. Imagine if that becomes my life, my brother. Can you imagine how peaceful my life will be? Another verse of the Quran, 23rd juz. And wallahi, Allah be my witness, whatever I'm saying is just what Allah has put in my mind. And at this moment, ضرب الله مثلا رجلا فيه شركاء متشاكسون ورجلا سلما لرجل. Oh my Allah, oh my Allah, oh my Allah. What a Quran. Allah says, I give you the example. ضرب الله مثلا. Allah gives the example. رجلا, a man, فيه شركاء, who is a slave unto multiple masters. But these masters don't have mutual understanding. Mutashakisun. They are stubborn among themselves. So there's no cooperation. So he is a slave that has been bought by 4. Or he's working for 4 people to simplify the parable. So because he's owned by 4 masters, the one says, hey, 2 o'clock you pick up my son. The other one is, hey, 2 o'clock you wash my car. The other one is 2 o'clock, hey, you take Mrs. to the mall. The other one is, hey, 2 o'clock, I need you at the office there, the dispatch, we need to send out goods. Can you imagine the misery in the life of this man? He's got to answer to 4 people. It's challenging enough to answer to anyone. It's challenging enough to answer to him. One of the greatest difficulty for a man in married life is he has to answer. Right? That's it, you know. Oh, hey, I got to clock in, I got to explain, I got to do this, I got to do that. Now, we're not going into the details, but sometimes you feel you've been encroached. You feel that you've been invaded. We can discuss that at a separate time, what's the limits, etc. You got to answer to 4 people who are not reasonable, don't have a harmonious understanding, who are not on a common page. وَرَجُلًا سَلَمًا لِرَجُلٍ وَرَجُلًا سَلَمًا لِرَجُلٍ هَلْ يَسْتَوِيَانِ مَثَلًا الْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ بَلْ أَكْثَرُهُمْ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. And one person is employed by one man of understanding, and one person gives him a task at the time. Can the life of both of these 2 people be the same? No, never. Allah says exactly, the one whose life is governed by my happiness and displeasure, that's the focus of his life. If it falls within the ambit of pleasing my Allah, I do it. And if it falls outside the ambit, I drop it. Now, if you like what I do, good luck. If you don't like, tough luck. But I'm motivated by the pleasure of my Allah. Alhamdulillah. What's the correlation of Alhamdulillah? All praise belongs to Allah who gives us such rich examples. Bal aktharuhum la ya'lamun. Despite such rich examples, majority of mankind still don't heed it. May Allah open our hearts. May Allah give us that, my brother. And you know what's the truth? I speak with the cap of a father on my head, and with many other, dynamics that we all are in. We do so much, but the very people that we do for seldom appreciate. And Allah is the most grateful, appreciative being you can ever think of. وَكَانَ اللَّهُ شَاكِرًا عَلِيمًا. Allah concludes the 5th juz. Tour the world, you're not going to find someone more grateful than Allah. إِنَّ رَبَّنَا لَغَفُورٌ شَكُورٌ الَّذِي أَحَلَّنَا دَارَ الْمُقَامَةِ مِنْ فَضْلِهِ لَا يَمَسُّنَا فِيهَا نَصَبٌ وَلَا يَمَسُّنَا فِيهَا لُغُوبٌ. When the dwellers of Jannah will enter Jannah, the first statement they will make is so profound that the world in its entirety can never offer the statement to any human. That's the status of Jannah. You just got into Jannah and your first perk is something the whole world can't give you. What is it? Alhamdulillahi alladhi azhaba anna al-hazan. Alhamdulillahi alladhi azhaba anna al-hazan. Inna rabbana laghafurun shakur. الذي أحلنا دار المقامة من فضله لا يمسنا فيها نصب ولا يمسنا فيها لغوب والذين كفروا لهم نار جهنم لا يقضى عليهم فيموتوا ولا يخفف عنهم من عذابها. When they're just going to drop in Jannah, may Allah make us among them. Oh, at least depression, sadness and grief is now gone forever. Today you fly the best, you're sitting in soft comfort, but there are 1,000 worries that grip you. You're bothered about this son of yours, worried of that son of yours, worried of that son, worried of this, concerned of this here. That is the life in which we are. Now, this is my analogy. Probably because I travel, so aviation, I kind of identify with it. You take pain in buying your family something. And you go out of your way, you go the extra mile. And you know you're going to keep this in your hand luggage. And then you put it in the cabin above you. And anytime, gentlemen, wait, I'll open it. Wait, I just got something here, please. Just be with me, right? And then you take pride and value in it. You come through customs, you're worried, you're tense, you're nervous, you're apprehensive, you get it through. You take in pain from the time you bought it, carrying it, traveling, moving around. And you come home, oh, I don't like this. Hello? Baba. Do you know what I've invested in this? Do you know the pain I've put in this? But I swear by Allah in whose control is my life. You drop your gaze. You bring modesty in your life. You give up your evil. You don't have to fear has my Allah accepted it or not. My Allah has rewarded you on your sheer endeavor, leave alone execution. On your sheer endeavor. Inna Allah katab al-hasanati was-sayyi'at. ثم بين ذلك فمن هم بحسنة فلم يعملها كتبت له حسنة. You make an intention, Allah gives you one reward. Then the Nabi of Allah says, that's not all. You make an intention of evil, a conscious intention, and then you back off from the wrong. Allah records that as a virtue. Not like, one is you said, I want to phone her, and then the network was down. So you said, no, I didn't do it. No. That's not leaving the wrong. The network failed you, my brother. You consciously gave up the wrong. You consciously gave up. My time is running away, but I always say that my thoughts get carried away in different directions in my talks. And I believe it's from Allah and the prayers of my parents that Allah steers it in a direction. And too many times it has happened, I've sat down with a particular focus and the thought goes in a different way. And today was no difference, and that is from Allah. Hopefully that in that there is some message for myself and message for you. So, the point that I wanted to say to the young girl and to everyone and latching on to her name and from there, expounding is that our deen is to desire good. Go out and benefit the people. Go out and be a source of helping people. The Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam likened himself to مَثَلُ مَا بَعَثَنِي اللَّهُ مِنَ الْهُدَى كَمَثَلِ غَيْثٍ. My example is like that of rain. And rain clouds go out to the thirsty person. Now, let me also sound a word of caution here. There are many people outside there who claim to desire good for us. But I promise you, they are enemies in a disguised form. There are too many people out there that come under the pretext of nasiha. And I'm going to use the same words. And I'll substantiate through Quran, inshaAllah. They also come through the pretext of nasiha. Listen, brother, I just mean well for you. I just mean good for you. And how many a youth, and I cry to my kids, I cry to my friends, I cry in my talks, that understand who are your well-wishers and who are your enemies. The disbelievers came to the Sahaba and they said, oh, leave your faith and join us. And if there's any consequences, we'll deal with it. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the verse and Allah said, tell them, قُلْ أَنَجْعُوا مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ مَا لَا يَنْفَعُنَا وَلَا يَضُرُّنَا وَنُرَدُّ عَلَىٰ أَعْقَابِنَا بَعْدَ إِذْ هَدَانَ اللَّهِ كَالَّذِي اسْتَهْوَتْهُ الشَّيَاطِينُ فِي الْأَرْضِ حَيْرَانٍ لَهُ أَصْحَابٌ يَدْعُونَهُ إِلَى الْهُدَىٰ ائْتِنَا. How do I convey this to you, my brother? How do I convey it to you? So Allah said, tell them, are you asking us, after we've embraced the faith and we've seen the light and we've distinguished between right and wrong, We must now give up our deen and turn on our heels and accept you. That example is like a man who's traveling and he has good companions and they're moving in the jungle. And these friends of his are traveling in the desert and they're going to Akhirah. And they're going in a correct direction. And the analogy here is Nabi alayhi salam and the Sahaba, they are moving in that right direction. And as long as I hang out and associate and assimilate with the right people, I'm getting a positive influence and I'm moving in the right direction. And then comes a demon and possesses him. Comes a devil and possesses him and detaches him away and takes him away. Now the life of a demon and the life of sin, what is it? كَالَّذِي اسْتَهْوَتْهُ الشَّيَاطِينُ فِي الْأَرْضِ حَيْرَانٍ. It's a life where you're just wandering. You don't know when you get, I often say to these people who have evil habits, and may Allah guide one and all. When you live a life of sin, you will be up when the world is sleeping, you'll be sleeping when the world is up. You will be sad when the world is happy, you'll be happy when people are sad. Your life will become upside down. Maulana Ibrahim Devla Damat Barakatuh mentioned that you dash out of the masjid and you want to go somewhere. So in that hasty nature, you slip your left foot into your left shoe into your right foot and your right shoe into your left foot. You know what we say, bananas. And now you run. But you realize that, hang on, this is taking more time. And you say, I got to stop, let me change my shoes and then walk. He said, if a man's shoes are wrong, he can't walk correctly. If his whole life is upside down, how he'll progress? If one simple shoe is wrong, you can't inch in life. So you got your good friends and good company and good influence. And this is not exclusive to the young mind. This is exclusive to every adult and everyone. Because every one of us takes pressure from our peers. We admit or deny, the truth be told. We take in pressure from peers. Whoever we associate, those are the influences that come into our mind and shape our thinking. Hence the Messenger ﷺ said, be very circumspect before you befriend, because you're putting your faith on the line. فَلْيَنْظُرْ مَنْ يُخَالِلْ فَلْيَنْظُرْ Think. It's not just befriending him. It's giving up your value system. It's giving up your creed and your conduct if you're embracing this person. So, once the demon possessed him, لَهُ أَصْحَابٌ يَدْعُونَهُ إِلَى الْهُدَأْتِنَا. His companions are telling him, brother, come here, break away from that. Give up that haram. How many a youth phone, I have a porn addiction. I have this addiction. I cannot come out of this. I got a drug problem. I got zina problem. I got a gambling habit. You fly now at an airport, there's a casino. You barely have enough money to buy the ticket. And now while you're stopping in transit, this is your opportunity to again. The world has just become a place of absolute, temptation. And what's the aim of all this here in the 7 juz? إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ الشَّيْطَانُ أَن يُوقِعَ بَيْنَكُمُ الْعَدَاوَةَ وَالْبَغْضَاءَ فِي الْخَمْرِ وَالْمَيْسِرِ وَيَسُدَّكُمْ عَنْ ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ وَعَنِ الصَّلَاةِ. That all these things, the common denominator in all sins is that you stay away from Allah. So the devil has taken him away, and what is that life? Hayran. There's nothing. Ask a man. He thinks there's joy, but it's a life of absolute depression. So to conclude on that note, that we need to identify our sincere well-wishers are Allah and His Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, our parents and our teachers. It was none other than the devil who came to our parents Adam and Hawa when they were in Jannah. And Allah said, eat freely and move around freely. Just this one tree, don't come close here. Just this one tree. And that's why the ulama say the injunction of haram started from Jannah. Something that's forbidden for you, that was in Jannah. وَلَا تَقْرَبَا هَذِهِ الشَّجَرَةِ. And it's important, I've seen too many people who at home, they are very meticulous on the consumption of halal, the performance of prayer. But once they travel, they drop the whole guard. Everything becomes halal. Everything. For some people, if it's not pork or alcohol, it's halal. That's the standard of alcohol, halal. As long as it's not alcohol and not pork, alhamdulillah, it's halal. Sometimes we need to eat something simple. Sometimes it will take a little long. When Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in a long dialogue, he asked Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in 2 words, just give me a recipe for my salvation. Ya Rasulullah, ماذا أصنع لنجاة نفسي? And this could be probably a summary of the talk. And Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, كل حلالا وقل صدقا. كل حلالا وقل صدقا. Ali, 2 things. Just hold on to this and your salvation is done. Utter that which is true and eat that which is halal. The people of Kahf, the 7 sleepers, I mention in many of my talks, that Allah spoke about them so much. If you really look at those people, this is how easy our deen is. They didn't do anything great other than just walking away from sin and they went to go sleep. I say to youngsters, it's a night of clubbing, it's a night of going to clubs and womanizing and doing the rest of it. Just come home and sleep and you're the friend of Allah. Just come home and sleep. You don't have to do, obviously you read your Isha and Fajr. The youngsters, they realize there's idolatry, there's polytheism, there's shirk. They said, let's go away from here. And they went away from here and the Quran is categoric, they went to sleep. And Allah didn't wake them up, Allah accommodated their sleep and Allah facilitated their sleep. وَنُقَلِّبُهُمْ ذَاتَ الْيَمِينِ وَذَاتَ الشِّمَالِ وَكَلْبُهُمْ بَاسِطٌ وَهُمْ فِي فَجْوَةٍ مِّنْ. Allah said, we kept them, وَنُقَلِّبُهُمْ ذَاتَ الْيَمِينِ وَذَاتَ الشِّمَالِ. We turned them to the right and the left. وَكَلْبُهُمْ بَاسِطٌ. And the dog had spread its legs at the threshold. لَوْ اطَّلَعْتَ عَلَيْهِمْ لَوَلَّيْتَ مِنْهُمْ فِرَارًا. O onlooker, if you had to only glance, you would be gripped in awe. وَلَمُلِئْتَ مِنْهُمْ رُعْبًا. You would be gripped. Because some scholars say they were sleeping with their eyes open. You know, some people sleep with their eyes open and you get up 12 o'clock, can be scary. And sometimes men sleep with a white cloth also next to him and his hands together. It can be a bit scary. Anyway, brothers, our father and our mother were in Jannah on that note of nasiha. Person, a bank manager is coming, you approved for a loan. You're one of our best customers. Oh, look at what personal touch I get. What personal touch, my brother? Taking you back into that same circle, in that same misery, in that same vicious circle. So the devil came to Adam alayhi salam and said, can I just talk to you? Okay. Do you know why Allah told you mustn't eat from this tree? You know? Different wisdoms. This is the mind, the inquisitive. But why? I mean, I don't have a problem. I'm just wondering how come Allah said this. Not me, somebody asked. That's the best part. You know? When it comes to men who have damsels in Jannah, then no woman asks that question. She's always asking it on behalf of someone else. One sister asked me to ask you. No sister herself is asking this. I say a simple answer, my brother. Woman, what would you have in Jannah? I don't have a specific answer, but I can promise you this much. لَهُمْ فِيهَا مَا يَشَاءُونَ. لَهُمْ فِيهَا مَا يَشَاءُونَ. For them they will have in Jannah what they want. And what does Allah say? وَلَهُمْ فِيهَا مَا تَشْتَهِي أَنفُسُكُمْ وَلَكُمْ فِيهَا مَا تَدَّعُونَ. Whatever you request for, you will be happy in Jannah. That's a given. That's a given that in Jannah Allah will leave every person satisfied. In fact, the narration that I wanted to quote is that when the dwellers of Jannah will get into Jannah and they will see what Allah has done for them, they would be humbled by this superb hospitality and they will say, Allah, as much as we enjoy it, it's too much. You know, when a typical scenario like this happens, you travel to a country or somebody comes to your house and you give him a dry reception. You don't give him the most fancy thing, give him a basic protocol. Your driver goes and fetch him at the airport, you don't go personally, your son drops him off, you send him to one restaurant and you're like, all okay, right? It was nice having you, come along. Huh? That one person we went to in Canada, so he says, some people came home, they visited. Then I said, Pata Aujo, you must come. He said, then he came back after 2 weeks. Then anyway, I entertained him, then I said, Pata Aujo. Then he came back after 10 days. Then I told him, see, bhai, we say this, we don't mean it. This is just a norm, you say, come back. We don't mean it. It's a norm. You're not taking it in the literal sense of the word. So, come back, it's just like that's how it is. It was nice having you. So, a person comes home, you give him a dry, basic reception, right? That's one. Then you travel to his country and he gives you a lavish spread and he lays it out. And he calls the whole community there. He mobilizes everything, shuts his office, he's there early. It's a 5-course meal. Now you're enjoying it, but there's a guilt inside you also when the man came. If it was the first visit, then you say, inshallah, if he comes, we will reciprocate. But if it was the other way around, there's a guilt eating within you that I'm enjoying it, but I'm feeling so terrible with myself here. We had a basic, and look at the spread here. Just look at it. When the dwellers of Jannah will enter Jannah and they will see how Allah appreciates what they did, they're going to say, Allah, we enjoy it, Allah, but we're feeling so bad because we don't deserve this, Allah. Read the narration of Targheeb. Allah, allow us, we want to drop our heads in sajda. We just want to be good again. We want to renew our appreciation. And Allah says, oh my servants, the dynamics have changed. Today you are just not my servant, you are my visitor also. You know, when you have your son, he's your son, and your married son is also your son. But the relationship changes. You're talking to a kid that's at home, and that is, as parents, we need to mature. I heard one of my teachers giving me this advice, and he said he heard it from one of his ustads. One is your student who's still studying, and one is a student that has graduated. When you reach out to each of them, there's a different protocol. There's a different way, and that's the beauty of our deen, and that's the wholesome nature. So that is how Allah appreciates. So the devil came to Adam alayhi salam, and he said, can I just tell you why Allah told you mustn't eat from here? مَا نَهَاكُمَا رَبُّكُمَا عَنْ هَذِهِ الشَّجَرَةِ إِلَّا أَن تَكُونَا مَلَكَيْنِ أَوْ تَكُونَا مِنَ الْخَالِدِينَ وَقَاسَمَهُمَا إِنِّي لَكُمَا لَمِنَ النَّاصِحِينَ فَدَلَّاهُمَا بِغُرُورٍ. Allahu Akbar. I just taught it in tafsir 2 days ago. So what happened here? He says, listen, the only reason Allah prohibited you from this is because if you eat from here, you will be blessed with angelic qualities. You will be blessed. You know, you tell the girl, this is not a good boy. No, he promised me he's going to do the world for me. My parents don't seem to understand. Okay, Ben, we'll see who's right. Let's reserve judgment. Let's reserve judgment. Then the same girl is phoning me in 10 days and it's crisis. Okay, can we call your parents? No, it was against their wish, so they're not on board. They're not on board. So the devil comes in a charming way, with charisma, with style. What does he say? Allah prevented you from eating from here because if you eat, you'll become an angel. And you'll be blessed with eternity. And Hakimul Ummah reconciles this in Bayanul Quran, that initially Allah prohibited you because you didn't have the strength to eat this. But with the passage of time, you've now developed the strength to consume this fruit and be blessed with angelic abilities. So you know what? You take this course, you come back, then your immune system is strong, you're resilient, then we can inject you. Now time has moved, now you people can eat. Now obviously our parents, Adam and Hawa, they were apprehensive. Allah told us, why must we eat? So now this is what I was highlighting, and we said nasiha and desiring good, and people who claim, who sugarcoat the whole thing, So now they're apprehensive and no man, we don't want to eat. So the devil comes, وَقَاسَمَهُمَا. Now, qasama in Arabic is from Babi Mufa'ala, and this is mentioned in the Hasha of Jalalain. Babi Mufa'ala is a speciality, but just so you can appreciate the whole ayah, is Mufa'ala. Mufa'ala means janibain. Janibain means mutual. So when two people mutually do the thing, that's the time you use a fi'l or a verb from that bab. That means the devil swore an oath, and Adam alayhi salam also swore an oath. But in the context here, Adam alayhi salam didn't swear an oath, yet Allah used the word qasam. Why? Because Adam alayhi salam kinda approved the oath. So there was a flavor of mutual relationship. The devil is swearing the oath, and Adam alayhi salam is okay, he's taking an oath. وَقَاسَمَهُمَا. And what did he say? If you know Arabic, inni lakuma laminan nasihin. Listen, Adam and Eve, this is what I told you. You don't want to eat, your choice, I'm paraphrasing. But I take a qasam on Allah's name, I only wish well for the two of you. I only have your interest at heart. May Allah take my humble sentiments to anyone and everyone who is perpetrating wrong, indulging in vice due to association with evil company. That these people are sugarcoating the whole thing. How many times a man phones, there's a deal like this, I tell him, you're asking my mashura, leave it. Yeah, but Maulana, you say, I said, listen, if you're asking my mashura, I'm saying, drop the deal, move on. Yeah, but, well, then do what you need to, my brother. Then do what you need to. I mean, there's a person, a youngster, he made istikhara for the particular girl. The father was apprehensive. He comes to me, is it wrong to make dua that Allah give him more, what afiyat? The old man doesn't want to approve. Can Allah take the old man away quickly so that, hang on my brother, are you consulting Allah or dictating to Allah? Are you asking Allah or informing Allah? Some of us make dua like we dictating to Allah. This. Now, today, tomorrow. No, that's not. ادعوا ربكم تضرعا وخفيا إنه لا يحب المعتدين. Allah loves you, you're simple, you're humble, you're discreet, you're a beggar, you just keep on begging. I mentioned this analogy. We was walking at a lake in Canada, just strolling there, and the guy cast his rod, and it's a hot day, and I'm like, gentlemen, how's the fish? And he says, I'm enjoying the day in the sun, the fish is a bonus. And it hit my heart, and I use these analogies in my humble talks. And I said, if only I can use this in my du'as, and say to myself, somebody asks you, you're making so much dua, is it accepted? And I say, I'm enjoying chatting with Allah. If it's approved, it's a bonus. You're making so long dua, any luck? Oh, I'm just going there sitting. You say, no, we don't go for the fish, man. We catch the fish and we drop it back in. Okay, well, it's just a buddies, man. It's a barbecue. It's a boys' night. It's a weekend out. We relax. The fish it's a bonus. If only we could be making dua like this. I'm just enjoying myself. By Allah, when I fly, there's three things I do. Read, we all sleep, and make dua. I enjoy making dua. When it's a long haul, you open your shutter, you don't know where you're crossing over, what continent, and it's you and your Creator, and you just cry and cry and cry, and talk and talk and talk to your Allah. إِذْ نَادَى رَبَّهُ نِدَاءً خَفِيًّا قال رب إني وهن العظم مني واشتعل الرأس شيبا ولم أكن بدعائك رب شقيا وإني خفت الموالي من ورائي وكانت. Oh man, if Zakaria something said, Allah give me a son. He said, Allah, I'm old, I'm aged, my hair is white, my bones are frail, my wife is barren, I don't have anybody to take. He's having a conversation with Allah. He's having a conversation. We've lost the touch. We've lost the touch to talk with Allah, my brother. The best of us cannot make dua. And I often say, while raising your hands is meritorious and noble, but you drive in your car and you with yourself, you're having hours in the car. Talk to your Allah. Talk to Him, my brother. Cry your heart out. Chat with your Allah. Lighten your burden. Allah, you've given me these kids. Allah, it's challenging times, Allah. Allah, I know whatever you decide is right. Allah, help me. Allah, help me. This is what Allah loves. We converse with Him. Inni lakuma laminan nasihin. I swear, I intend your good. And there's a lot of Arabic grammar. فَدَلَّاهُمَا بِغُرُورٍ. Look at Quran. Dalla yudalli tadliya literally means like to drop a bucket down. Huh? فَأَرْسَلُوا وَارِدَهُمْ فَأَدْلَى دَلْوَهِ. He dropped his bucket. دَلَّاهُمَا بِغُرُورٍ. Through deception, the devil dropped our father and Hawa down. Hakim al-Ummah writes, dropped them from their elevated position of Jannah to earth and dropped them from their great intellect of understanding that abstinence was the right thing to indulge in from here. And no sooner they ate, and this is, our parents made a mistake and they are the prophets of Allah. And you can read Qadi Abu Bakr al-Qadi Rahmatullah alayhi has written under the ayah, وَعَصَىٰ آدَمُ رَبَّهُ فَغَوَىٰ. Great academic language. لَا يَجُوزُ لِأَحَدِنَا الْيَوْمِ. It's not permissible for us, due to this mistake of Adam, that we use any harsh, unpleasant, stern words against Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's chosen, beloved servant is Adam. You'll find wherever Allah reproaches a Nabi in the Quran, the language immediately after that is Allah speaks of how much Allah loves him and how close he is to Allah. وَعَصَىٰ آدَمُ رَبَّهُ فَغَوَىٰ ثُمَّ اجْتَبَاهُ رَبُّهُ فَتَابَ عَلَيْهِ وَهَدَىٰ وَلَا تَكُنْ كَصَاحِبِ الْحُوتِ إِذْ نَادَىٰ وَهُوَ مَكْذُومٌ لولا أن تداركه نعمة من ربه لنبذ بالعراء وهو مذموم فاجتباه ربه فجعله من الصالحين. You can read the entire Quran. لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين فاستجبنا له ونجيناه من الغم وكذلك ننجي المؤمنين. That the Anbiya are that galaxy of people whom Allah has protected. But as soon as they ate, the consequences were immediately. Now the clothes were removed, and now they were latching onto the leaves of the trees of Jannah to cover themselves, and they were covered in their private area. You know what? Let me, now this is a dead stop, inshallah. Sorry about this, yeah. No, it's a stop, it's a stop. Last night my wife was telling me, but why don't you learn to speak for time allocated? So when when they ate from the forbidden tree, and it's, wallahi, it's not me, my brother, this is Quran. Nothing of mine. I swear by Allah, I got nothing. But that is Quran. لا تنقضي عجائبه. The miracles of the Quran, the beauty of the Quran, the knowledge of the Quran. What I'm telling you is nothing. See what Mufassirin write and how wholesome the Quran is. It's just, unending. Al-ilmu bahrun la sahila lahu. A knowledge, an ocean without shores. So as soon as they ate, their private area got exposed. And one of the first things the devil wants to do is to create nudity in the world. And that's exactly what the Quran. So when they got exposed, and now in Arabic, the beauty of the language, the Quran referred to their private area as sawat. Sawat is the plural of the word sawatun. Sawatun is derived from the word sa'a yasu'u, which means bad. وَسُمِّيَ الْعَوْرَةُ سَوْءًا لِأَنَّ إِنْكِشَافَهُ يَسُوءُ صَاحِبُهُ. Why is the private area known as sawa, which literally means bad? Right? The satr ghaliz. It's known as bad. Why? Because if your satr gets exposed, then that is unpleasant to any salim ut-taba', any person with a preserved nature. So Allah then warned us, Ya bani Adam, la yaftinannakum ash-shaytanu kama akhraja abawaykum min al-jannah yanzi'u anhuma libasahuma liyuriyahuma sawatihima. Listen, O the children of Adam, what the devil did to your parents, that he took them out of Jannah and made them remove their clothing by eating from the forbidden tree. Let not the devil do that to you. And today the world is on a constant slogan and campaign of promoting nudity. So in conclusion, the devil claimed to be a nasiha, a well-wisher, but he was nothing other than a liar, an impostor, and a treacherer, someone who came to deceive. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us and protect our progeny. May Allah make us those people who have sincere nasiha, where we sincerely wish well for others, we desire good for others, we promote good for others, and we reflect the deen. May Allah accept the completion of the young girl, of the entire community, Brother Hashim, his family, the entire extended family, and everyone who has come here, Radio Islam, Hazrat Mufti Saab, and all the other ulama that have attended. And I apologize for extending over my time. Allah grants us all the understanding and accept from all, inshallah.
This audio is brought to you by Muslim Central. Please consider donating to help cover our running costs and future projects by visiting www.muslimcentral.com/donate.
Hmm.